Have you ever walked into a place and felt your mood shift instantly before a single thought could form? Not fear, not excitement, just something wrong. Your breathing changes. Your body tightens. You can't explain it, but every instinct says leave. Now picture this. A room flooded entirely in red. Walls, ceiling, light. The air feels heavier, warmer. Your pulse rises, not because of danger, but because your body has already decided it's time to react. No threat appears. No sound breaks the silence. Yet your nervous system is bracing for impact. Here's the unsettling truth. Your brain never asked for your permission. Before logic, before language, before conscious thought, your senses triggered a warning, and all it took was color. It happens in milliseconds. Too fast to notice, too fast to stop. Color bypasses reason and strikes the oldest parts of your brain. The system's built for survival. That means every room you enter, every screen you stare at, every logo you trust is already influencing you. Quietly. Why does something as abstract as color carry so much power? Because color isn't learned like language. It's encoded. Processed in emotional survival centers, the amygdala, limbic system, areas that don't analyze. They react. You don't have to believe in it. Your brain reacts first. Your emotions follow. Your rational mind arrives last, just in time to explain a choice it never made. Segment 1. Ancient wiring, modern minds. Color perception begins in the eyes, but its consequences end in behavior, emotion, and decision-making long before you're aware of it. When light enters your eye, it hits the retina and activates specialized cones tuned to different wavelengths. Those signals don't take a neutral path to the brain. They are immediately routed through emotional processing centers like the amygdala and hypothalamus, areas responsible for fear, arousal, motivation, and survival. That means color isn't processed as information first. It's processed as feeling. This is why color produces measurable physical changes. Heart rate shifts, breathing patterns adjust, muscles subtly tense or relax. Hormones like cortisol and adrenaline rise or fall. You don't decide to react. Your body reacts for you. Red doesn't just look intense. It triggers the sympathetic nervous system, the same system that prepares you to fight or flee. Blood pressure rises. Focus narrows. Time feels compressed. Studies repeatedly show that exposure to red increases aggression, competitiveness, dominance, and even perceived attractiveness. Red doesn't invite thought, it demands action. That's why warning signs, sirens, and emergency signals lean red. Your brain doesn't analyze it, it obeys it. Blue pulls in the opposite direction. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for rest, digestion, and recovery. Heart rate slows, muscles loosen, trust increases. This is why blue environments consistently produce cooperation and calm decision-making. It's also why blue suppresses appetite. In nature, blue rarely signals food. Your brain doesn't associate it with survival nourishment, so hunger fades. Yellow sits in a dangerous middle ground. It stimulates the brain by increasing alertness, but too much becomes overload. High saturation yellow increases anxiety and irritability. Infants cry more in yellow rooms. Adults feel restless without knowing why. It's often mistaken for happiness, but biologically, yellow signals caution. Think of venomous animals, warning patterns, and harsh sunlight. Your brain reads yellow as pay attention, something's off. These reactions aren't learned preferences, they're inherited reflexes. Your ancestors survived because they reacted fast, not rationally. Color helped them do that, and your brain still runs the same ancient software. Segment 2. Emotional hijacking through design. Once industries understood this, color stopped being art and became strategy. Fast food chains didn't accidentally choose red and yellow. Red increases hunger and urgency. Yellow grabs attention and raises stimulation. Together, they create a psychological environment that says, eat now, eat fast, don't linger. The food may fill your stomach, but the colors drive your behavior. Luxury brands went the opposite direction. Black signals authority and seriousness. White suggests purity and precision. Gold triggers associations with rarity and power. These colors slow decision-making and elevate perceived value. You don't just buy the product, you submit to the status it represents. Hospitals learned this lesson the hard way. Harsh white environments elevate stress hormones, increase patient anxiety, and even slow recovery. That's why modern hospitals use muted greens and blues. These colors lower blood pressure and reduce emotional reactivity. Healing isn't just medicine, it's atmosphere. Casinos take this to a darker level. Deep reds encourage risk-taking. Warm, amber lighting softens time perception. There are no windows, no clocks. The environment is engineered so your brain can't orient itself. Without natural cues, you lose track of time, and color quietly guides emotion while logic sleeps. Even prisons and interrogation rooms use color deliberately. Dull, neutral tones reduce stimulation and drain emotional energy. Over time, resistance weakens. Motivation fades. Compliance increases. Not through force, but through sensory deprivation. This isn't persuasion. It's conditioning. And once it works, you never notice it happening again. Segment 3: Experiments that prove it. One of the most infamous examples is Baker-Miller pink. In controlled studies, inmates placed in holding cells painted this specific shade of pink experienced dramatic reductions in aggression. Muscle strength dropped, hostility faded, violent outbursts declined. This wasn't due to discipline or threat. It was sensory interference. The color disrupted the physiological pathways required to sustain rage. The effect didn't last forever, but long enough to prove something unsettling. Emotion can be chemically weakened through perception alone. Sports psychology revealed something equally disturbing. Athletes wearing red are consistently perceived as more dominant, and they actually win more often in combat sports. Judges score them higher. Opponents hesitate more. Confidence shifts on both sides. Red doesn't add strength, but it reshapes belief. And belief changes behavior. That's the final twist. Color doesn't change reality. It changes how reality feels. And the human mind follows feeling far more often than fact. The twist in application. You might be thinking, interesting, but this doesn't really affect me. After all, you're not locked in a colored cell or being psychologically tested. But color doesn't need extreme conditions to work. It works best in the ordinary. Think about what you wear when you want to feel powerful. Black, dark blue, deep red. That's not fashion, it's self-programming. When you wear black, you don't just look different. You act different. Research shows people in darker clothing are perceived as more dominant and behave more assertively. Posture straightens, voices lower, confidence rises. Now look at your environment, your bedroom, your workspace. Bright white rooms may look clean, but they increase mental fatigue. There's nothing for the brain to rest on. Soft, warm tones calm the nervous system, allowing focus, not because you like them, but because your brain feels safe. Even your phone controls you. Blues and whites reduce anxiety and encourage endless scrolling. Red notifications trigger urgency. Your brain reads them as warning signals. You don't choose to check your phone. Your nervous system does. Here's the darker twist. In dim environments, people are more likely to lie or cheat. Darkness creates psychological anonymity. Brightness increases self-awareness. Color doesn't just shape mood, it shapes behavior, especially when you think no one is watching. The unsettling truth: if you're unaware of color's influence, you're not choosing freely. You're reacting. Awareness doesn't remove the effect, but it gives you something rare: control. Now ask yourself something uncomfortable. If color can influence your emotions, your confidence, your trust, without your awareness, what else is guiding your behavior right now? Because color is only the surface layer. Beneath it lies sound, music engineered to shift mood and memory, frequencies that calm you, energize you, or keep you compliant. Then language. Not words meant to inform, but to frame reality. Labels that shape identity. Phrases that slip past logic and hit emotion first. Then symbols, logos, shapes, faces, patterns, signals your brain decodes instantly before conscious thought begins. And deeper still, conditioning. Repetition, exposure, reinforcement over time. The most powerful influences are the ones you don't notice, the ones you mistake for your own instincts, preferences, personality. The room you're in is affecting you. The screen is shaping your mood. The light is deciding how alert or vulnerable you feel. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And if influence becomes intentional and personalized, that question doesn't end here.